All right, we're about to take a journey from the dusty battlefields of ancient Greece all the way to the high-tech strategy rooms of the modern world. And we're going to uncover two totally different ways of thinking about conflict. One that's all about the heart, and another that's about cold, hard calculation.
So let's just start with a big question, the one that frames everything we're about to talk about. How do you actually win a war? Is it about totally crushing your opponent? Or is it about conquering the chaos that's going on inside your own head? Keep that question in mind.
Okay, so our story begins in ancient Greece, on a very different kind of battlefield, what we're calling Homer's battlefield of the heart.
Now, when you hear the Iliad, you probably think it's the story of the Trojan War, right? The whole 10-year saga, the Trojan horse, all that stuff. But here's the thing, it's not.
Instead, Homer zooms the camera way in on something much more personal. The Iliad is really the story of Achilles' rage. It's all about the internal battle of this one guy, the Greeks' greatest warrior, after he gets completely humiliated by his own king. And you can really see this downward spiral play out. It all starts with dishonor. King Agamemnon steals his war prize, so Achilles, full of wounded pride, just sits down and refuses to fight. Well, that leads to tragedy. His best friend Patroclus goes to fight in his place and gets killed by Hector, the great Trojan prince. So then comes the vengeance. Achilles is just consumed by grief and guilt, hunts down Hector, kills him, and then desecrates his body. But even that doesn't fix anything. He's just left depressed, unable to eat or sleep, completely trapped in this horrible loop of anger.
And all of this leads to the climax of the entire story. It's an absolutely incredible moment. Hector's father, the old King Priam, does something that is just unthinkable. He walks, all by himself, right into the middle of the enemy camp and into the tent of Achilles.
And this is the moment everything changes. Priam doesn't show up with an army or with threats. No. He gets on his knees and he kisses the hands of the very man who murdered his son. It's just this act of insane, mind-blowing humility.
And that gets right to the core of it. As Professor Jiang-Shi Kun says, the real battle is inside our human heart. It's through this incredible act from his enemy that Achilles finally finds a way to forgive himself. That is the real victory in the Iliad. It wasn't about conquering Troy, it was about conquering his own rage.
So you have to ask, right? How did these ancient people have such a deep, profound understanding of psychology? Well, that question leads us to a really fascinating theory about a kind of wisdom that we might have lost.
One idea is that their minds were literally just wired differently than ours. Think about your own brain for a second. You've got two hemispheres. The right side is your creative, emotional, big picture side, and the left is your logical, analytical, let's get this done side. This theory suggests the right brain sort of picks up vibrations from the world, and the left brain is the part that interprets it all and turns it into the reality you see.
Now, here's where it gets kind of wild. A psychologist named Julian Jaynes argued that for ancient people, this whole process felt different. The thoughts and interpretations coming from their left brain didn't feel like their own thoughts. Instead, they actually heard them as voices, the voices of gods or spirits, guiding their actions. And this direct line, this internal dialogue, might have given them access to a whole different kind of wisdom, one we just don't have anymore.
Okay, so we have an ancient poem about rage and a pretty wild theory about how ancient brains worked. What in the world does any of this have to do with modern geopolitics? Well, let's make that connection right now.
And prepare for a hard left turn, because we are now entering what's called the modern strategy matrix. We're talking about a cold, calculated, and deeply analytical approach to war, and we're drawing it from the playbook of present-day Iran.
So, according to the source material, Iran's modern strategy for conflict is built on four main pillars. Number one, unite your own population, usually by bringing up past grievances. Number two, build strong alliances, both with regional groups and with big global powers like Russia and China. 3, win over global opinion by making sure the world is paying attention to causes that make you look sympathetic. And 4, weaken your enemy from the inside by encouraging arguments and dissent among their allies.
And we have a perfect real-world case study for how this matrix works. Iran's recent missile and drone attack on Israel, which they named Operation True Promise.
I mean, just look at how this one single military move was designed to check every single one of those boxes. It helped unite their population by showing they could strike back. It sent a message to their allies, Russia and China, that they're not afraid to fight. The strike was also very carefully designed to cause almost no casualties, so they could frame it as a measured, just response to win over global opinion. And finally, it weakened the enemy by creating this very public disagreement between the US and Israel about how hard to hit back. So, let's pull back and put these two very different worlds side by side and look at what they represent. Two completely different minds of war.
And this is where it all clicks. On one hand, you have Homer's wisdom. It's totally right-brained. The goals are all internal. Get over your pride, learn to forgive, find your courage and humility. The key to everything is the human heart. And on the other hand, you have the strategy matrix. It is pure, unfiltered left-brain thinking. The goals are all external. Achieve your objectives, manage how people see you, exploit your advantages. The key to everything is just cold, emotionless logic.
Seeing this contrast, this huge difference between the two, it leads you to one final, pretty big question about the way we do things now. Could there be a fatal flaw?
In a world that's obsessed with perfect, left-brain strategy, we're left with this one question to think about. Have we become so good at playing the geopolitical chess game that we've completely forgotten what the Iliad was trying to teach us? That sometimes the most important battles aren't won or lost on a map, but inside the human heart.